So thank you so much, BRONZEGATE and Adam, for your continued support of our programs. I really can't thank you enough. The 8,500 that you raised for us has been spent on really 600 students have benefited from your donation, and it really came at a very good time for us because last year we had 3 fires and 1 typhoon, and we were so focused on disaster relief and still at the same time managing all of our existing programs that it just meant that when we update our student at risk register, we were very late doing that. We have to update our student at risk register yearly, and we do it because the families that we work with live in chronic poverty. And chronic poverty, by definition, is poverty where a person is unable to access education, health, or meet their basic needs. So our families most definitely fall in that category. They say that chronic poverty is only chronic when it lasts for 5 years or more. But in our case, we have generational poverty. So we're already on the 3rd and 4th generation of families living in this chronic poverty. And when something like a fire happens, then it pushes the families into crisis. So then you not only are dealing with chronic poverty, but you're also then dealing with crisis poverty at the same time. And the results are catastrophic. So this, of course, the families are still recovering from the effects of the pandemic. Many of them took out loans with illegal money lenders and are up to their eyeballs trying to pay off these high interest loans. So we've been growingly concerned with our students. What we discovered was that a staggering 71% of our student body are most at risk of dropping out of school or college or university. That was shocking. We've never, in the 23 years that we've been running, have we ever seen anything like that before. So we then analysed why that was. So 44% of those students had parents with a chronic illness. That would have been heart disease, diabetes, TB, hypertension, high blood pressure. Some have had strokes, some have got kidney diseases and need dialysis. So they're serious diagnoses, but their parents were not taking medication for them. And when we found out, the reason is that they were choosing food over medication. So we saw some of these patients in our clinic in 2020 all the way through to 22. But because the hospitals were not open, or at least in 22, there were very few spaces for patients to have diagnostic tests, they went from treatable to chronic. And so having this late diagnosis and not being able to even take medication meant that even some hypertension patients had strokes. 3 of our students had been orphaned, their parents had passed away. So they're really in a desperate state, and that put massive amounts of pressure on us. We needed, if we were going to respond to this by giving the daily medications to the families, then that would have increased our health budget by nearly £70,000. But we've been very busy fundraising for that and have been successful, and I think I only have like another £20,000 to go, and then that's covered. So we've been able to continue to fund all of those parents now, which has given much relief to 44% of the students. But the remaining 27%, they have just been surviving off a substance called PAG. So PAG is the leftovers from customers' plates from fast food restaurants. And that pretty much is all they've been able to eat. And whatever bit of money they've been able to earn, that's either gone towards paying their rent, paying the interest to the illegal money lenders, or just paying for a bit of electricity. They all have to buy water. So they really haven't been surviving. So of course now we're seeing, when we visited them, we then have now malnourished students and malnourished family members. And we had to think very quickly, how can we meet all of these students' needs? Because we're also seeing it with so many. So we thought that the best way to help would be to give them what we call a COLA allowance. That's a cost of living allowance. And it's just £15 a month. It's, to be honest, it's not really sufficient. We should be giving more like 45, but we've got so many students in this position. There's like 169 of them that are in this situation. So we needed to just be able to spread what money we could over it. And we've been literally raising this money as it's been going on. Your donation gave us 3 months, or just over 3.5 months of that COLA allowance. And that gave me just about enough time to find more donors so that I could continue this COLA allowance with them for the rest of the year.
Hi, I'm Pittsburgh Tuition. My mother is a solo parent. That's why we cannot afford all our needs. That's why thank you so much for additional cost of living allowance. For now, we can buy our food and fully paid our utilities. Thanks for all our donors, PSEP and upskills who support cost of living allowance.
The COLA allowance really helped not just me and my family because it gives us extra money to pay our electric bill and buy more food. Because as a working student and the breadwinner of our family, it's very hard to fit my salary to all of our household expenses. That's why I am very happy for the COLA allowance. Thank you for all the donors who support the COLA allowance.
COLA was very helpful to us, not just in me, but also in my family, because our basic necessity was resolved through the help of COLA, especially the rice. Because before, my mom was always worried to where she will get the financial to our basic necessity. So sometimes she will loan to our relatives or to his friend just to survive the day. That's why I'm very thankful to COLA and Upskills to become one of beneficiary of COLA. And I hope COLA will continue to help us until we can stand alone. Thank you to all the donors that supporting COLA.
So thank you. I mean, thank you just doesn't really seem enough because what you've done is you did that walk, and you didn't have to do that walk. It was a hard walk as well, and it was in the rain, and you did it, and you raised an enormous amount of money, and we've used every single penny of that money for the students. And because here in this country, if you don't graduate with a university degree, you can't even get a job at McDonald's. And so we know that if the students that are most at risk of dropping out of school did not complete their education, they'd be outside pushing carts, outside going through waste. They would literally be back where they started. And after 16, 17 years of being in education, to be back where they started would be too hard, I think, for anybody to bear. So your walking has given 169 children a month, 600 children altogether, hope, and is given them that ability to be able to change their own lives. So thank you. Thank you so much for all the effort you put in. Thank you for all the support that you give and the encouragement that you give to me and my amazing team here.